This video will talk about how to develop the preparation outline for your upcoming speech. Now, there are two types of outlines that speakers use in preparation for their speech. The first type of outline is called the preparation outline, and the second is the speaking outline. Today, we're going to focus specifically on the preparation outline. Now, there are a few key elements that are important to remember about the preparation outline. First, this outline is composed in full sentences. Next, you need to use full detail, meaning you have main points, subpoints, and sub-subpoints. This outline also includes the specific purpose statement, the central body, the introduction, body, and conclusion are clearly labeled, along with a bibliography or works cited page. Please remember, this is not a word-for-word transcript of your speech. It's an outline. The preparation outline. This outline is the detailed outline that helps you prepare for your speech. This outline is turned into your professor before the speech. Your professor will take a look at the outline and give you tips, tricks, or hints on how to improve your speech. Your professor will also be able to give you your kudos on things that are done well. Remember, this is not a word-for-word transcript of your speech. So let's go over some tips for creating a successful preparation outline. Tip 1. Use a consistent pattern of symbols and indentation. So as you can see here, the main point is designated by Roman numerals 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remember, there's only 2 to 5 main points in any given speech. Supporting details will be labeled in uppercase letters first. So indent and then start your subpoints, which are supporting material. If you have material that supports your supporting material, you will indent again, start with Arabic numerals 1, 2, and 3, and create your subpoints. If you have supporting material for your subpoints, then you will indent one last time with lowercase letters, using this as the subpoint identification. It's really important to remember that the main point and subpoints are all in full sentences when you're creating a preparation outline. However, your subpoints and your subpoints, those can be in keywords and phrases. Also, the indentation stair-step method is really important. As you can see, the uppercase letters are indented just a little bit. The Arabic numerals are indented more, and the lowercase letters are indented the most. It's really important when you're creating your outline that I can see the different levels of information that are included in the speech. I'm going to remind you just one more time. In this preparation outline, you must use full sentences. All main points and subpoints must be in complete sentences. If you have a question on what that looks like, make sure to review the sample preparation outlines I've shared in class. What you see here is a sample speech outline. Now, of course, it will be much more information, but I really wanted you to take a look at the way it looks, right? So at the top of the page, you will have your specific purpose and your central idea statement. Remember, the specific purpose statement will start with to inform or to persuade. You will identify your specific audience, and then you will also include what the purpose of the speech is without using the word and. There's only one purpose. The central idea statement will include your main points of the speech. Remember, there's only 2 to 5. That central idea statement is also the thesis of your speech. In the outline that you see here, the introduction, body, and conclusion are very clearly labeled. After the introduction, body, and conclusion, you can see for the introduction, there are 4 components. All of those components are identified with Roman numerals 1, 2, 3, and 4. For the body of the speech, your main points again are identified with Roman numerals, main point, and then your subpoints are indented even more, and they are identified with uppercase letters. And then your subpoints are identified with Arabic numerals like the one you see here. When you're moving on to the second main point, then you will start with Roman numeral number 2, and then Roman numeral number 3, so on and so forth. It is not necessary for each main point to have the exact same number of subpoints, subpoints, or subpoints. That part is really up to you. However, as I mentioned in a different video, it is important that your main points are balanced within a speech. The last section of the outline is the conclusion. As you can see here, the conclusion is broken up into two components. Both are identified with Roman numerals. First is the summary of your main points, and the last is your concluding remark. The other piece that I have included are your transitions. As I had mentioned in your outline, transitions are so helpful. So for our speeches, there are two transitions that are mandatory. The transition between the introduction and the body, and the transition between the body and the conclusion. If you choose to include transitions in between your main points, or if you include internal summaries or internal previews, that's excellent, but it isn't mandatory. For your informative speech and persuasive speeches, you will need to do college level research. And when you do that research, you need to add citations in your outline to let me know that you've used research information as the source of your supporting materials. So when using information from your research sources, please add the citation in brackets. Again, please review the sample preparation outlines I've shared with you in class. Here's an example of a portion of the speech that uses their citations in brackets. So as you can see, the subpoint of this main point talks about inflation of prices. And the student used information from ppic.org, Poverty in California. And then the subpoint also uses information from the same source. So as I look at the outline, I'm able to readily identify that the subpoints and subpoints are information that comes from a credible source. After you've completed your outline, you will need to include a works cited page along with your preparation outline. Please remember that 3 credible sources must be cited in correct APA format on that works cited page. Most students use more than 3 sources, but 3 sources is the absolute minimum. Please make sure to check the parameters for what types of sources will be allowed. Also, these sources are what you used to support your main points and create subpoints. So I should be able to see from your works cited page similarities between the sources there and the sources in the brackets in your outline. I know most of you have created works cited pages or bibliographies or reference pages before, but I just wanted to remind you that the library is a great source of information if you're a little bit rusty on how to cite your sources correctly. There are worksheets, there are PDF documents, and there's videos on how to cite sources. But here are just a few tips that students typically get wrong. First, the sources are not numbered in APA format. Second, the second line of all of your sources should be indented. The first line is left justified, but the second line and all subsequent lines are indented. And lastly, please list your sources in alphabetical order. Congratulations! That is the end of this presentation about how to create your preparation outline. Please remember that this outline is not a word-for-word transcript of your speech. Instead, you're using full sentences to describe and to write down and prepare for what you will say during the speech. It is appropriate to use quotes. It is appropriate to use maybe some exact wording that you might say in the speech, but it definitely is not a transcript.